Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Divine Room Podcast.
My name's Melissa,
My name's Jose.
and this is just a safe space for all divine beings to just be.
Ding!
So last time we talked a little bit about just how, in this current era, there's a lot of single men and women,
people.
right, within the ages of 25 to 35.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted to kind of get a male's perspective.
Most definitely, yes. So we wanted to include this in the last podcast, but we decided to do it today.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt better. So yeah, this is one of our mutual friends.
Yeah.
And he's willing to get on and put on his perspective. So we're about to call him.
I'm a little nervous to just hear what he has to say.
I know.
Let's do it. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes.
Hello, Chippies.
Yes. Yes. You hear me?
¿Cómo estás?
Bien. I'm here like in the gym.
Oh, did you work out?
Well, yeah. Vaseline.
You're on speaker. Hassel's here too.
Okay.
Hey.
So, what's up, fake friend?
It's an inside joke. Hi, how are you? What are you up to?
We're leaving the gym. I just left. I was just getting on my car.
Oh.
Are you ready for questions?
Yeah, sure.
First of all, thank you for
let's
doing
do it.
this. You're amazing for volunteering.
I know.
Hello.
Oh my God. So yesterday we talked about how there's a lot of single people our age from the ages of 25 to 35. And a lot of these people are people who have focused, first on their careers. And really there's a lot of reasons. But for us, we understand why, or at least we can say that we understand a little bit why some women are single. But we want to get a man's perspective as to why you think men in your age group are still single, right? When we think of our parents who were in their early 20s, already pregnant, 4 kids, that was kind of their era, but our era is so different. What do you think it has to do with as far as from a male's perspective?
So, personally, what I think that the majority of the issue is social media. I think, honestly, I think it's just changed this perspective on everything and make, how to explain it? Because you can't believe everything that's on there. So I think people have not realistic expectations because of social media.
Oh, I like
so
that.
I think that has a lot to do with it. So they expect so much, and then when they actually go out and try to date, it's not what they see. So I think they kind of just maybe don't want to try, I guess, maybe. So, what was your guys' perspective? What was the women's perspective? What do you think?
We believe a lot of our women are hyper-focused on their careers. But I think Hassel also said the same thing you said, that there's just you're introduced to so much on social media, on dating apps. There's thousands of pictures of unrealistic things. And now there's this misconception of how we think people should look or act.
Yeah, but I have a question too. Do you think it's hard to also, because I think a lot of us have really high expectations. So my question is, do you think you can handle someone that's also a boss babe or a boss bitch? Because I also think you're in your perspective, you have your own business too. You're bossing it up too. Do you feel like you need to be the boss and you need to be the one that's going to be making all this money, or can you actually handle another woman making the same amount or even more money?
So here's the thing. Here's what I think, honestly. So the girls who are that, I'm the boss, from what I see, they make that their whole personality. I don't know, it's because again, like social media or whatever, they make that like their whole personality, that like who I am. And like when it comes to your partner, I think you should be able to separate the two. And they don't, and they take that into a relationship. And like a good man is not gonna like want that, right? I mean, a good man would want to take charge and provide, or at least lead. And like, I guess a woman somewhat be submissive to the man. I think, I mean, I'm more traditional. I mean, that's what I think. But since like that's their whole personality, like I don't think it happens. So like for me, I wouldn't mind if I dated something like that. That's not an issue for me. It just comes down to where in a relationship, you're a team. So I mean, like two people can't have the same role, I believe, right? So like each one should have their own role, and if they both have the same role, like dominant and like be the boss, and I don't think it's gonna work.
Yeah, I see what you mean. And then it goes back to like that feminine energy and that masculine energy, where like a woman should be able to feel feminine with her man, and
exactly,
yeah, and feel like they can be submissive to them because they feel like they're safe and they're loved by the man.
Yeah.
You know, and now that I'm hearing both of you talk, I think if I could sum up the question, like why are people our age still single? I think we're just so self-aware. I think we're way more self-aware than our parents are, and perhaps that makes us a little bit picky, would you say?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, I think more picky and like unrealistic. Like another thing, if I can add, I don't know if take it the wrong way, but like from what I see, also like women like, oh, I'm a strong, independent woman, but in reality, all they're really doing is being a basic adult. Honestly, like, oh, like I pay my own bills, like I do this, like I pay my own rent and like pay my own bills, I cook my own food or whatever, and it's like that's honestly just being a basic adult. Honestly, I'm not trying to be rude or anything. Like I think they overvalue themselves. Like, oh, like I don't know, like I have so much to give, but it's really just being a basic adult. And like you have really high expectations for a man, when really like they're just being a basic adult. And then I think that just goes back to also like social media, like, oh yeah, girl, you get it, you're a queen, you do this, you do that, you don't need a man. So that's what I've seen, honestly.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I think we're on the same page. I think it's so beautiful to see that in some way we have, as a male and a female, it's the same perspective, just in different avenues. But it really, I mean, we'll never know the true answer, right? But I think it's nice to kind of hear different perspectives and different sides of why it's happening, because it's so common now. And, you know, everybody wants to fall in love and find their soulmate and
exactly
have kids and do that whole spiel.
Yeah.
But
yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's kind of why the reason I'm also single. Like, I don't know, I think I'm like pretty selective, like you said, on like expectations. Like just because you do these basic things doesn't mean like I want to be in a like. Also, like, what do you bring? I mean, like, just because you pay your own bills and
have a business,
work a job, or just have a job and do the basic things, like, doesn't really mean you're a boss, or like, I don't know, like bring something to the table, I guess.
I like that. You just made a face, Hassan. You just made a face.
No, I just nothing.
We're in full transparency here.
I know it's just a pet peeve of mine.
Well,
when people say or when men in general, let's say, what do you bring to the table? What do you mean I bring to the table?
If I can,
well, not that like I want like not that I want anything, but like
no.
I don't know.
Okay, I think
I'm just being picky.
I think if I could back up my men here, I think it's valid, because I have 4 brothers, and I would want them to date women who bring something to the table, and they're not just there hoping to have a provider who just kind of does everything. Like, I don't think that's right at all. I think that any man should have a woman who is supportive, who is nurturing, who is loving, and really supports, you know, whatever business he's doing, whatever goal he has. I think that's what a woman can bring to a table, and so much more. I heard this one thing where a man provides and the woman builds, Or how is it? Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, so like let's say a man provides a home, but the woman really makes it a home.
Absolutely. I've heard that. I've heard that before too, and I like that perspective.
I think that's like I think that's like the healthy masculine and feminine energy kind of coexisting together.
Yeah, like everybody has their own role. Like I said, going back to like each one has their own role, and you need to be able to work together. And like for me, like the person who's with me, I think is a reflection of me.
Wow.
So if like right, because like if she goes anywhere, she doesn't think that's still like a reflection of me, like who I am. So like right, so that's why I'm pretty selective. Also, if like she's not gonna represent the way I am, like I wouldn't want to be with that person.
Absolutely, yeah. It's just me and Melissa looked at each other because like that's all we've ever said is like our partner's always a reflection of us.
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier that any partnership you choose, it's going to be a mirror of who you are. And you kind of have to be selective. Like otherwise, you know, if you're choosing something that's not a reflection of you, then you start to build like that toxic energy. So anyway, summing up to the whole question, and I think we got a great answer from you, but I think there's just the same ideology of we're just a little bit more selective of who we choose, and that's okay. Does it take us a little bit longer? Yeah, perhaps.
I think it does. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a few years.
We're going to be 50 and finally married.
Instead of 30, flirting, thriving, we're going to be 50-something and thriving.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for doing this. You were absolutely amazing, and you are truly a good friend. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, no welcome. Any other questions, let me know. Feel free.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Agree. Thank you for this. Appreciate you always.
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Okay. That was a great perspective.
Yeah, I loved it.
You know what? Like, men aren't so different from us.
Wait. Did you just have this realization, or is
No. I'm just saying, like, overall, like, I mean, yeah, they aren't. It's just depends on a man.
Yeah, I mean,
depends
like,
on the man.
Totally, and it's like any other woman, right? It's like there's far and few, right? Far and few men, and everybody's in their own journey. But it was really nice to hear his perspective as far as like, I guess I didn't think of it that way from a male's perspective of like they have to be as selective as we are.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah. You're building a life with this person. Absolutely. You should definitely be selective.
Yeah.
I think it's just overall going along with like these dates and seeing who is compatible with you. I still go back on the last episode where I said nobody's perfect and everyone's gonna come in baggage. And so I think now I see things where like you may not check all my boxes, but I want to see the bad side of you and your baggage to see if I'm willing to accept that. Now that's my perspective,
right?
Because I meet a lot of amazing men and we're a lot alike, and I'm also like very easy to be compatible with people. That's how I am. Yeah, like I'm very like open and welcoming and accepting of you, and so now my perception of dating has switched where I'm like, now I need to see the bad side of you to see if that is okay for me to not to deal, but to just live with for the rest of my life.
Totally. Yeah.
Let me see your bad. Let me see your baggage. Let me see that.
Yeah. Because when you're with somebody, you don't just take the good, you take the bad too.
Absolutely. Exactly.
So it was so beautiful to have him really speak on not just as himself as a successful business owner, a man who puts his career first, right? He's when you think of an ideal man and where he is in his life and what he's done, he's definitely that representation.
Exactly.
So it's nice to hear him say, you know, it's not just about, you know, it's not just about what you bring to the table, but how you are a reflection of what I need. And together we can go exist and we can, you know, show up for each other and support each other.
Good man, good perspective.
Totally.
Good friend. And he's single, guys.
He is single.
So if any of you ladies want to hit him up, like slide into my DM and I'll let you know who he is. Because he wanted to be like unknown for the for the sake of like being on the podcast.
Totally. But I think, you know what else this kind of like makes me think about, because we kind of went on a tangent there.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me think about, as women, again, we can't speak on a male's perspective because, you know, well, maybe we can a little bit touch on it, but
Maybe.
just overall stepping into your sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
Because you think about, you know, why are we single? But it's like, well, a lot of us are also still learning about ourselves and,
Mm-hmm.
you know, finding who we are. And in that process, do we not also find out about our sexuality?
Absolutely. And I think when it comes to your sexuality, you're a different person with each person that you meet and you are intimate with.
That's a solid point.
No, really though.
Because each one brings out or awakens something within you.
Exactly.
Wow, yeah. I like that.
Thanks.
I like that because, you know, in full disclosure and, you know, in complete transparency, some of my past partners, every one of them have awakened something within me.
Absolutely.
Whether it's something really passionate or something really wild or something really just soft and nurturing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Everything is different.
Every single person has some sort of, I guess you can call it like a sex language.
Ooh.
Right?
Sex language.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to go into like love language in a bit, but yeah, I think each individual that you end up being intimate with, they all have a different language. You know, some people are very soft and very like kind about it. Some people like you're rough. And then there's some that it's like a whole new
okay,
you know
vocals.
But it's true, yeah, and it's very weird and cool, but also very scary. Because in doing and having sex, it's an energy transfer.
That's actually so true.
And for me, it's like, I think it wasn't the fact that like if you sleep with people, obviously that's, you know, like the sexual transmitted diseases and all that, you know, you got to check yourself.
Guys, use protection.
Oh, use protection, absolutely. But for me, obviously that's number one. But the second thing for me was, I don't feel right after this. What was that? Yeah, that energy that because you're consuming your energy, and that's scary.
Yeah, I always think of like, and me and you talk about this all the time, but like there's like a frequency in the room, right? There's a frequency in a friendship. There's a frequency between us that we establish and we go up and down. And when you're in that moment with somebody, it's like transferred to you and then it stays there.
And it takes you a while for you to like let go of that energy.
Yeah.
And when I speak of energies, I speak of if you are intimate with someone that's consistently anxious and depressed, you're going to start being depressed and anxious as well.
I agree.
If it's someone that is consistently nice and sweet and lovable, you will start to feel that energy as well. It's weird. Like, let's say like someone's very kind to animals, then you start being a little more kind to animals. I don't know. It's interesting. It's like energy. That's energy for me. I'm just trying to think like when it's dark, when it's a dark person, that's really hard to tap into because when you've never tapped into anything that was dark and not all of a sudden this person's in your life and you're trying to understand this person and you're intimate with that person, that's where I say it gets scary.
I think what I have, because you know we're all learning in this process, like nobody's perfect, we're not perfect, we're still learning about this stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
But I think one of the things that has helped me really identify energies is knowing my own sexuality, knowing what I like in the bedroom, who I am as a person, how I feel, and you know, meditating and being grounded. I think all of that has helped me understand myself in the bedroom or in that moment of intimacy, I should say. And it allows me to really awaken the divine part of me. And when I do decide to share that intimacy with somebody, it becomes something special because our energies resonated with each other. So I know that when it finally gets to that step, it's because there's a connection there, like a true energy connection.
And that's what's more beautiful about things, right? But I still I still feel like I'm scared of the dark energy. Just because, like, also I guess, like, when you're new to your sexuality and you're new to being intimate with people, or just like your person at least, and I guess, like, that person is leading, it gets scary because you're walking into the unknown, and you're trusting this person to lead you in this very, like, intimate ritual. And so you have all this, like, courage and, like, all this trust in this person, and then when they start to, I guess, like, take advantage of you, that's where it gets scary. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I could see that. But you said it so beautifully. Like, it is a level of trust that you get to. And trust is so big. I mean, it's the foundation of so many things. And once that trust is broken, but yet you shared that energy, that exchange, it does take some time for you to process and heal and break that connection.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
You know.
Oh yeah, yes. I agree.
Yeah.
Because when you're with someone for so long and it's the partner you've always known, the moment that you start being with someone new, it's like, well, that's different. And that's when you start to realize, like, the different energies of it, and the different sex languages.
But more importantly, I think you start to learn too that your body is a temple.
Most definitely. Yeah. It's knowing your worth, right?
Totally. And knowing that protecting your temple is key to really you finding peace and happiness and really the right person who's going to consider that sacred. Right?
Yeah. So in other sense, really do choose your partners wisely.
Totally.
Even when it comes to just having a quickie or a one time or a one night stand or whatever it is, like, truly not for, like, the sake of your health, but also the sake of your own temple, your own energy, like your own self-worth, right? Because you have to protect that at the end of the day.
Totally. Yeah. You have to know your worth. Know that, and even as from a male's perspective too, right? Like, I think I have met a few men who understand that and understand that, you know, sex is amazing, but what some people are mostly looking for is a connection. And then when you have that connection, sex is that much more incredible and amazing.
Absolutely. Exactly. You said that so perfectly.
Right?
Yeah, because it's one thing when you just want that sexual arouse, but then it's another thing when you do have that connection. It's everything. It's everything when you get to actually know that person and have talks and build that relationship and that connection. And then when it gets to that moment when it's time, it's so much better.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
It really is. And I think too, now that's making my head go to our generation is kind of, we want instant gratification.
Consistently.
Consistently,
yeah.
And, like, when you think about instant gratification, pornography.
Oh God.
Right? I know that's like really getting deep, but, like, that's what makes me think of, like, instant gratification and where we are and talking about our sexuality. I just think that pornography can be used as something that's just instant, right? You get off and then you're done. But that's not really giving you the opportunity to understand your sexuality, what you like, what you enjoy. And there's no exploring because it's already there.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Like, I don't know. I think we can go a lot deeper in that conversation.
Jesus Christ. I think for me, and I'm gonna be very honest with everyone, it's very I guess weird to talk about this, especially, like, on a public level.
Totally.
Just because I'm it was never like a topic to talk about in my family, you know? And it's more of like that's a no-no.
Wow.
Because it's like my parents are very conservative,
Right.
and like that's just something that we just don't talk about. That's between you and your partner. But
it's so common too, though, in the Mexican
yeah.
culture to not talk about
Oh
it.
yeah, most definitely. And I think that's why it's great to have those girlfriends and those friends where you could just like ask them and be open about, like there is no need for you to feel weird about talking about any type of sex talk. Whether it's your own or someone else's, or if you have a question, if you're curious, whatever it is, you should be open and sexual about it.
Your own sexuality.
Yeah.
The wild, the nurturing you, the soft in you.
Exactly. And these are topics that the more we talk about, the more educated we will be.
Totally.
Right? And so, yeah, I think we should be talking about sex more often, especially also once like, even when you start growing up and, kids like start to realize what it is, not necessarily kids, but like teenagers, like, have that sex talk with your kids. See, not too early, but like at the right age, right?
I had the opposite growing up.
Yeah.
I had parents who were very sex positive.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, awesome. Obviously they weren't like, go have sex at whatever age, but it was more so, you have the bird and the bees talk, and they kind of transitioned based on my age. And it got to a point where with both of my parents, they sort of taught me important things when it came to sex, right?
That's right.
Using protection and TMI, orgasms, and right. And it was
y'all talk about orgasms?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
And it wasn't like I hope it doesn't sound weird. It wasn't like having orgasm.
No, I know.
It was like
I just think like, wow.
It was
my reaction was like, wow, I want to know more.
It was more so like men and women both have orgasms and it's important, right? And it was so body positive.
That's
and
awesome.
Right. With my mother, it was like, having sex toys and being able to take care of yourself. Like, this is fully transparent. Like, my parents were very body sex positive, and I got to have that growing up. And now as an adult woman, I feel very open to my sexuality, and I feel like I can openly talk about it and not feel ashamed. And I can speak on the camera all day long about it because it is an important factor of who we are. We're all human beings. We all have that desire.
Need, yeah. It's normal. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny, when I was maybe a few years ago, I had considered becoming a sex therapist.
What?
I know.
I didn't
Did
know
I just
this.
throw a curveball at you?
Yeah. I didn't know this. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to be a sex therapist because I think I had watched this show. It was on Netflix. It was like on the show Goop or whatever with I don't remember her name. I'll have to show you.
Goop?
It was called the Goop or Goop something. But essentially one of the shows was talking about how important it is to, get to know who you are within your sexuality, but also in the bedroom with your partner. And I think ever since then, I was like, oh my God, how amazing would it be to be a sex therapist and support people to really understand themselves in that part of their life? Because a lot of people, they have sex and they're still feeling so ashamed of their body. Do you know what I mean?
I absolutely understand. Yeah.
Or
for the longest time, like, it would be me. That would be me. That would be me, where I was like, I feel icky.
Yeah.
I feel weird. Like, why does
like you were doing something wrong?
Yes.
Like, it's
exactly.
Like you're not.
It's exactly that. And I think it's because of the way I grew up. I was like, how I learned about sex? My best friend.
Oh my God.
She taught me.
Yeah.
She was like, do you know what pleasuring yourself is?
Wow.
Yeah. Do you know, like, what it is when, you're down there and it's, like, a little moist? And, like, she taught me that. Yeah. Because my parents never, ever, ever, like, were open about, how, like, even if there was a question.
Oh, Lord.
I have a story time.
He knows I love you so much.
I know. I have a story time.
Okay, story time.
Because I had a question about sex. So the first time I was about to do it, I had a question because I didn't know any of this, right? And because I had a question about like how do men arouse, right?
That's a valid question.
Yeah, like how
like for a first time, that's a valid question.
Yeah, and it's like, is there foreplay? Obviously, there's foreplay,
right?
But like, I personally had never been the type to like do anything for a man. It was more of like, if I feel okay and I feel good, then like there's no transaction between me and him. You know what I mean? Until like new person and like, you know, trying to figure out what sex
what's going on. Yeah. And so you asked.
And so I asked my mom, and she was just like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "What do you mean? What I mean? Well, why are you asking me that?" And I was like, "It's a valid question."
Yeah.
And then she's like, "If you're asking me that, does that mean you're having sex with this guy?" And I was like, "No, like honest to God, I was not having sex yet." And then she was like, "No, pues no sé qué decirte." She's like, "I don't know what to tell you." And I was like, and then she's like, "Well, like, what's the problem?" And I was like, I don't think he's willing to like to get hard with me.
But like, you had no idea at that time the functions of the body, you know, the way the body moves and what the male does and what the female does.
I didn't.
So you don't know.
And she shut me down so quick. Yeah. And I was like, damn it, I can't ask her. And then she was like, well, what do you mean? Why are you asking? Are you doing things? Is something going on? Are you having sex? If you're having sex, you're too young for that. Hassan, aren't you supposed to wait for marriage?
It wasn't sex positive.
You're supposed to wait for marriage because I waited for marriage.
Yeah, it wasn't sex positive at all.
And at this time, I was like 20 already. And I was like, ay. Like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. And long story short, I didn't end up having sex with that guy. I couldn't understand him. And I ended up just losing it with my like the longest relationship I had, which was actually better and special in a sense because I got to actually be in this relationship with him for so many years, and we ended up like, you know, just there. Yeah.
I love that. I love that because I think I can relate to that. My first time was with my first love, you know, and we were young-ish. I think I was 21, maybe 20, and we felt like it was the right moment. We were in love, and I obviously didn't tell my parents like, hey, I'm gonna go have sex with so and so.
And I don't think you like tell your parents ever, right?
I actually told them.
You did?
I did. I told them. So this is how it happened. After, you know, I lost my virginity with my first love. I obviously, you know, we're not together anymore. And after the fact, after I think 4 or 5 years of being together.
Sorry, I burned something.
It's okay. It's just a candle, guys. We had broken up once, and I was so devastated, right? Because, you know, losing your first love and losing your virginity is hard. It's a hard, because you think, well, it's my first love, and the first time I lost my virginity, I'm going to stay with them forever, right? And sometimes that does happen, but you know, like your mom and dad.
Yeah, but my mom and dad are the exception, not the rule.
I like that. I like that. So, you know, we had broken up, and I came home. And I was devastated. I mean, heartbroken.
I mean,
I went
it's
to
like
my mom.
You did everything with him for the first time.
Right. And I went to my mom, and I was like, you know, so listen, or we broke up, and I fell to the floor just like of how devastated I was. And my mom,
I know that feeling.
Yeah. My mom sat on the floor with me, and she sat crisscross applesauce, and is that how you say it?
Yeah, crisscross applesauce. Yeah.
Crisscross, and like a little girl, crisscross.
That's
applesauce.
Cute though. That's cute. I liked it. It's cute.
And as I was on the floor, she kind of pulled me over and laid my head on her thighs, and she just like was rubbing my hair, and she was saying, "It's okay, like you know, it happens, and you're gonna be okay." You know, just really validating my feelings. And because I had told her, like, Mom, I lost my virginity with him. And I kind of looked at her and I thought, I'm going to get in trouble. Like, she's going to think the worst of me. But I couldn't hold it in because I'm like, I just lost this part of me,
Mm-hmm.
And my mom always raised us to think of our virginity as like the rose, right? Once it's like, once you
Like
break
Jane
it,
the Virgin.
Yes, exactly. I feel like that's
Like
a Mexican thing.
Is it?
I think so. Because
Okay.
how did we also
it's
know
like,
that?
It's like, and then it's like, arréglala.
Yeah.
¿La puedes arreglar?
Yeah.
No, así siempre se va a quedar.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of how I thought my mom was going to take it. Like, I was kind of tainted just because I had done that. But it was the complete opposite. She was so supportive. She was so loving. And, that approach just made me feel like, wow, like this is really special. Like, I can continue to share this with my mom and my dad. So I don't know, just like having that conversation with your parents is so important to really establish yourself in your sexuality.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And it goes to also, like,
I think it's great that you have that, but I never had it, and I can't relate to you. But I'm so glad that you're willing to, be expressive about this and be supportive about this certain subject.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, like, what we don't know is what we will learn in this lifetime and move on in generations after us, and be able to be open about these topics. So,
and build from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that. Mm-hmm. I think too, a lot of what we're learning is things that we're gonna, continue to progress in life and in this journey, in this podcast, and a lot of learning about yourself. And when you think about, like, not just sexuality but your love language, right? Like, knowing what your love languages are, and just really understanding how you love, how you want to be loved. I think that's important too.
Most definitely. Absolutely, I agree. I think for me personally, my love languages, and I want to ask you too what your love languages are.
I think it's important to know for our relationship.
I want to guess your love languages.
Okay. I feel like you're going to guess I feel like mine are pretty obvious.
Okay. Your love language is words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also physical touch.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe like gift giving, in a sense of like, or like making food. I don't know. You really appreciate that.
Making food.
Making and receiving food.
I love to eat.
Not like that, but like,
no, but I do love to eat. Like, I
mean, mine too. But I think, yeah. Did I guess it right? Maybe I guessed two right.
I would say like number one is definitely words of affirmation.
Okay.
And then quality time. And then physical touch. And then gifts.
Quality time. Okay, guess mine.
I would say quality time. And then words of affirmation, physical touch, and then gifts. Is that spot on, or
words of affirmation?
Okay.
Gift giving.
Really?
I love giving gifts.
Do you love receiving them?
I love receiving them. Like, it's one thing about me that Andres is like, I'm the opposite of a fuckboy. I'm a lover girl to the tree. And so, like, when you're sick or you need something, I'm there. Like, you're sick, I'm gonna bring you some sopita. If like you need me to be there and just like just be there next to you because you want to sleep and you feel scared, I'll be there. Or like just like little things like I'm always like the one to give like the women in my family flowers, perfumes, like that. And it's not necessarily like the materialism of it, but like the meaning and the
gift exchange.
Yeah. I heard you and I saw you, that you wanted that and that
I thought of you.
Yeah. It's like the wanting of it and not being able to have it. And so let me give you what you couldn't have.
I like that.
Yeah. That's my gift giving exchange. Yeah.
I think for me, the reason the words of affirmation is my number one is, well, first of all, I love poetry. You know this about me. I love writing and I love speaking. And so one of my favorite ways to show somebody that I love them is looking them in the eye and saying, you're special.
Thank you.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
You're incredible. You're smart. And I think when people really receive that and you could tell that they received it, their body language completely softens up. Like you just softened up right now. Like your eyes. Yeah, exactly.
They melt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's so special that we get to share and exchange like that.
Yeah.
And even when I'm like the other day, I think you said today, you were like, hey, I'm so grateful for you. And I was like, what? Like it was so random. I think we were both working on whatever we're working on.
Like, I fucking love you.
Oh yeah, that's what you said. You said I fucking love you.
I fucking love you. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Like that.
But it made me crazy. What? I know, right? Like, tell me more.
And I was like, because you make my job easier in editing. That's why. But yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think
love
it's
that.
Special.
Thank you for sharing your love languages.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And then quality time, I think, is kind of self-explanatory, right? Like, just
definitely
creating a safe space. I think that's why you and I have been able to do this, and it flows so naturally because our quality time is just so unique, and it's so nurturing, and it's so peaceful, and
it absolutely is.
We really
understand each other.
Yeah, each other's love languages.
Absolutely. Okay, so to kind of like wrap this up, I love you, Melissa.
I love you more.
I want to keep going with the perspective of the public and other people.
Okay.
So me and Melissa decided to put a question out on Reddit. And the question is, how did you navigate the journey exploring your sexuality and understanding your self-worth? Any tips? And that'll literally be the intro to the next podcast, to see what the Reddit public will give us and respond to.
Yeah, I think more importantly, we want to do this because we understand that we are learning through this process and we don't pretend to know it all.
Absolutely.
But I think more than anything, we live the exploration of it. And if we get to involve you guys and bring you with us in this journey, it makes it that much more special.
Yeah. And that was the overall message of this podcast, is to invite you guys to these topics as well.
So yeah, the journey of self-worth and exploring the self and mindfulness and just really getting to know yourself better. I love that.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining, guys.
Yes,
it was so fun today.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Peace.